All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Today we had a very tragic loss in our community. Brazoria County Deputy Jesse Vargas lost his life doing the Lord's work, like I said earlier, keeping the bad guys off the street. It's an unfortunate event. I had the privilege of meeting the wife, and I gave her my word that we would find this guy today. And but for the relationships that we have, the collaboration, as the good mayor always says, everybody here works together for stuff like this. I want to thank Marshal T. Michael O'Connor, his team, the DA, Shantier, for their cooperation. So at about 4:50 today, after doing a secondary methodical search, which is just part of our processes during a manhunt, our team secured an area behind this building here. The U.S. Marshal Service initiated with a canine. The canine got near a dumpster. The canine alerted near the dumpster. So they went down to make sure it was a good alert. They went down the alley, came back, and the canine again alerted at that dumpster. They opened the dumpster. The canine alerted again. The bad guy shot our canine. Our deputies returned fire, and the suspect succumbed to his injuries inside the dumpster. So again, collaborative effort. I want to thank the men and women of the Houston Police Department, the Marshal Service, every constable's office that was out here doing the hard work, right? Doing the grind out here in the rain, muddy feet, soaking wet, doing it for everyone, doing it for the community. You know, it's the bad guy was a bad guy, and it's unfortunate that it was a tragic end like this. But you know, we're here to do a job. We're here to keep the community safe. Know that this community is probably one of the safest in the country because of the partnerships that we have. The Marshal Service is a great partner. They do the hard things every single day. I had the privilege of working them as a ranger with them as a deputy marshal, with their Gulf Coast violent offenders, and they're pros. You know, today we lost we lost a hero today. That's the message. He did it. Took care of business trying to catch a bad guy and put him off the street. So I'm going to yield my time to the U.S. Marshal, T. Michael O'Connor.
Thank you, Chief. I'm T. Michael O'Connor. I'm the U.S. Marshal for the Southern District of Texas. And I have to at least tell the public how much we appreciate, and they should understand and appreciate, the collaborative effort every single day, day in and day out. And we have incidences like this that even shows it even more. You've come and reported some of these incidents over a period of time. And I show you now, unfortunately, what has happened is extremely tragic. There is evil in this world. There are demonic people in this world. But law enforcement stands steadfast to pursue the evilness and the demonic nature, as they are predators preying on the general public. And here's one situation where it was an outstanding warrant in the U.S. Marshal Service, along with a task force that we had of multi-agency deputies, police officers, went in and was surveilling. And as the chief gave you the details, I won't be repetitive on that. But the amazing aspect here, and people have to understand, the canine saved lives. This guy had no intentions whatsoever to be taken alive. He proved it by shooting upon our deputies right off. And then once again, as the canine went in there, he decided he'd take the dog out and anybody else that came. Fortunately, our deputies were alerted to this and were able to take action. So I want to at least tell the public, everything's fine now. There's no continuing aspect of this situation. It is, I guess you can say, somewhat been resolved. But again, I cannot express as much to you. You know, the Marshal Service they're not as much investigative as we are assistants to state, local, federal agencies in pursuing evil, the fugitive, and that's why we call it the Violent Task Force, Fugitive Task Force, Gulf Coast. And it proves it here that the expertise and the knowledge and the capability, but the commitment of all these men and women accentuates today. And I hope you understand this. And again, I appreciate the chief. As you know, protocol is that although we were involved in it, there's a courtesy, and I think it's the best thing to do, is to have another agency to investigate. You know, the chief was a ranger at one time, and he investigated some things for us independently. Now he's the chief, so he knows, and we've had a long relationship, and he definitely is the right, HPD is the right agency to investigate this situation and get all the facts. And I assure you, you, the media, will get all the facts in a timely manner. Right now, the status of the canine is he's stable in the veterinary. The other thing is, he was lifelike. Are you aware of that? General public's not. But a good friend that I had, Red Duke, Dr. Duke, was instrumental to have a component of having airlift to take dog to service to the closest clinic. And this is what happened. Unfortunately, we had this happen about a year or two ago. But again, take all those stakeholders and see the results in the timeliness of how this thing got resolved. We're all relentless to get it done and get it done now so that you and the public are not concerned of a continuation of a criminal nature. So I'm going to call back the chief here, and any questions that you may have of us, please ask.
Sean, you want to say a few words?
Good.
Okay.
Chief,
what agency were the officers who fired, and where was the dog from?
The agency was from the United States Marshal Service,
Okay.
and the canine was a federal partner as well, was a United States Marshal canine.
do you think he just stayed there, like around here? Or, I mean, I know you don't know, but what do you surmise he did, Davis?
Looking at it now, in hindsight, he hid in the trash can.
Yeah. He took
Right.
off and went in there.
Do you think he was probably there the whole time?
Yeah.
We believe so at this time, yes, sir.
How many shots did he fire, do you know?
We know that the dog got struck twice.
You mentioned that the dog was the one who alerted you guys to the dumpster. You said that, did the dog actually go in? How did that interaction take place with the shooter?
The dog had access to the dumpster
Yeah, but
and was able to get in the dumpster.
Oh, so he actually went inside
That-
the dumpster
yes.
and was shot.
Yeah.
So the guy was hiding underneath trash?
Yes.
in a
Just
dumpster.
tons of it.
Tons of it.
And the dog
Alerted.
alerted and dug in there, and that's when he shot the dog.
What was it that brought you all out here for Davis this morning, today? Was there...
Outstanding warrant out of
No, but I
Galveston
mean, was there a
County.
tip that we think he's here? Or?
Yes, always there's somebody that
So-
has some idea of the possibility, and so you don't stop at that. You go ahead and go forward, and it may not work out, but you go check it out.
We were told that he may have been getting money for plasma here, and that's how you were alerted. Do you know if that's
Well, I
true?
think that's up to the chief to comment, and I'm sure he won't at this time because it's still under investigation.
We don't know those details. I can tell you that he had a aggravated assault with a deadly weapon out of Brazoria County.
And he had
Sorry.
2 out of Harris County, right?
I haven't confirmed those. The ones that I know of is the one in Brazoria County.
Chief, was he shot? Chief, was he shot, the officer, was he shot point blank by the suspect? Do you know if, like, as soon as, they surrounded the vehicle, kind of walk us through, like, what happened? How was he
Still
shot?
gonna
Well,
be under
we're still
investigation.
working through that. I can tell you that we will evaluate. We're canvassing the entire strip mall, going through phone data, looking at the suspect's phone. So all the police processes will be dealt with accordingly. But as far as details, we're just not ready to do that because we've got to still present this through the legal system.
We heard that his girlfriend might have been.
Go.
We heard that Davis's girlfriend might have played a role in this. That maybe her vehicle's license plate was picked up on a flock camera. Is she being questioned or have anything to do with this situation?
That is still under investigation. I won't comment on that.
Oh,
Yes.
sure. And tell us about the suspect. How many times was he shot here in the dumpster? And also, was he shot in the original altercation?
In the original altercation, he was not shot in the dumpster. He was shot multiple times.
Got it. And is he still there?
He's deceased, yes. He's still there. We follow protocol, so the medical examiner's office will come and work through that process.
Is there surveillance footage that could show kind of his path to get to that dumpster? We see the cameras here, but in the back as well.
Part of our investigation will be canvassing. Methodically, everything will be asked. Some of the stores are closed, but our homicide investigative team will gather all that information. Absolutely.
What kind of weapon was he armed with?
I do not know.
Now, Chief, he was a passenger in a vehicle. Did you guys pick up the driver, and is that person at all being questioned or detained or arrested or anything?
Earlier today, the driver cooperated. He came back into and got interviewed, so we don't suspect him in any other involvement other than giving the suspect a ride.
And what was that the brown truck that we saw?
Yes.
And what was their connection, the driver?
We don't know yet. We're working through that.
Chief, ¿qué nos puede decir en español?
Oh, anybody else?
You said you spoke to the suspect's wife. Can you speak about the deputy and the person that he was and the impact he made to this community as far as the impact he was playing?
He was a hero in my eyes. He was a winner, right? He gave 17 years of his life, days, evenings, nights as a patrol officer, right? A lot of people don't lose sight of how hard that is to make it in this career for 17 years. Father of 3. And their family's devastated. Bo Stallman is the sheriff in Brazoria County, just a wonderful sheriff. And they're mourning, so please keep the Brazoria County Sheriff's Office in your prayers. Again, they're just out here working. That warrant comes in every single day. Warrants come in, and there's teams throughout the city, throughout the state, throughout the entire country working those warrants every single day.
I can say, one moment, I can say I commissioned him as a special U.S. Deputy Marshal about a year ago. And they were very excited. Here's a full-time career deputy that has served in many capacities.
The U.S. Marshal's Office and HPD updating us tonight on the takedown of an accused deputy killer found among the garbage in a dumpster that a canine led them to. Suspect Robert Lee Davis fired on that canine that discovered him.
It was really something. Law enforcement then returned fire, shooting and killing the suspect. We'll have much more tonight at 10. Our coverage continues now in the meantime on KHOU.com and KHOU 11+.
Heartbreaking that this has to come to this as far as his service is concerned.
Truly is.
I think one of the big questions we're hearing from our viewers, if you could explain the process a little bit about why this would have happened here if he was in Brazoria County.
Well, the task force, the U.S. Marshal Service, Gulf Coast Violent Task Force, and it comprises with multiple, we have multiple task forces, and they're mobile. That's why we commission them as special deputy U.S. Marshals, even though they may be an officer with the PD or with the sheriff's office. By commissioning them as special deputy U.S. Marshal, that gives them the broader capability to go where needed and when needed. And so here, they were up here looking at this situation, and that's how it happens. You have we even have state law enforcement a part of it as well. And it gives us cross-reference of resources from local, state, and it's an immense help, to have it for the U.S. Marshals and the communities throughout the nation. We do this throughout the nation, and that's why you may say, well, he's out of his jurisdiction. No, he's not, because he's part of the task force.
Yes. Anybody else in English?
And so, was it just a Brazoria County warrant? It looked like he had 2 charges that were filed in Harris County in December.
Okay, Randy, I've not verified that, so I won't comment. So
Sure.
if you've seen that, I have not looked at that data, but I know today they were out looking for the aggravated assault charged with deadly weapon from Brazoria County.
And I stand corrected. I said Galveston, but
That's okay.
he's
Got it.
Brazoria
Do we
County.
know the dog's name?
The dog's name was Rocky. He was a year and a half old.
Rocky like the boxer?
Rocky like the boxer, but better.
Was he a Belgian Malinois?
Yes,
He was a Belgian Malinois.
Mhm.
Yes.
There he is.
Okay. Yes, sir. En español.
En español,
Dígame.
¿y dónde encontraron, cómo fue que encontraron a este tipo? Y ahora si ustedes tienen, en vez de un héroe, tienen dos con este oficial canino que fue agredido.
Hoy en la tarde, como a las 4:50 de la tarde, siendo otra búsqueda de parte del alguacil de los Estados Unidos, del U.S. Marshals, aquí en Houston, revisaron que viene siendo el callejón de atrás de este edificio y estaban unos botes de basura grandes. So, en esos entonces usaron un perro, un K9, y el perro, al llegar a una de las cajas de basura, dio la seña, abrieron la tapa de la basura. En esos entonces el perro brincó porque olía al sospechoso, y en ese entonces el sospechoso balaceó al perro 2 veces. Entonces los policías también llegaron con sus armas y le tiraron al sospechoso, y el sospechoso no sufrió sus heridas.
¿El oficial canino cómo se llama y cómo está?
Está bien ahorita. Se llama Rocky, es su nombre.
¿Y cómo piensa usted que estos dos oficiales, aun cuando uno era de 4 patas, son 2 héroes?
Claro.
Al final.
Claro, pues es un trabajo difícil, es un trabajo duro. Yo vi a Rocky con su agente como a mediodía, trabajando duro, todos mojados porque estaba lloviendo. So, el perro está trabajando, el perro está haciendo su trabajo, está bien entrenado para hacer su trabajo, y el perro se usa para que el humano no tenga el peligro igual. So, en esos entonces el Rocky hizo su trabajo, fue héroe.
Pues cuénteme un poquito sobre el oficial que fue herido. Creo que muchas de las familias quisieran saber cómo era, qué tipo de héroe fue el que falleció.
Era un diputado del condado de Brazoria, se llamaba Jesús Vargas. Tengo entendido yo que él tenía 17 años de policía con el condado, tenía un año y medio de que se había hecho diputado del alguacil del gobierno federal. Era padre de 3 hijos y desafortunadamente hoy dio su vida para proteger esta comunidad.
Chief, en español. ¿Nos puede contar del sospechoso, cómo lo encontraron, dónde se encuentra en estos momentos y cómo fue la interacción con el K9, el perro, cómo lo ubicó?
Pues el K9 está entrenado a oler el sospechoso, y en esos entonces hizo trabajo sobre el bote de basura grande, es una caja de basura. Entonces le abrieron la tapa al cajón, introducieron al perro, entonces el perro hizo una alerta. En esos entonces el sospechoso balaceó al perro, entonces los oficiales lo balacearon para atrás.
¿Él todavía tenía un arma entonces?
Sí, claro, sí, claro.
El sospechoso estaba enterrado en la basura.
Enterrado abajo de la basura.
¿Todavía estaba herido?
El sospechoso en esos entonces no estaba herido. Cuando él balaceó al perro, a Rocky, al K9, entonces los diputados del alguacil también le dispararon para atrás.
¿Qué mensaje le da a los malhechores eso de que hay mucha gente que dice, no, pues es un perro y por eso lo mató? ¿Qué mensaje le da a los malhechores, a la gente criminal que hace esto con un animal?
No, pues estos perros son parte de nuestros trabajos, son nuestras parejas en el trabajo. Están bien dedicados, no son perros de jugar, son perros de trabajo. Reciben bastante entrenamiento y son parte de nuestro oficio. Eso, y tienen un valor increíble. Hacen todo, oler, de armas, pistolas, drogas, todo hacen los animales. Para nosotros es una parte de este trabajo que es increíble y sin ellos no hacemos ese trabajo.
¿Cómo se encuentra Rocky? ¿Cómo se encuentra Rocky? ¿Él está bien?
Está estable ahorita y ojalá salga bien.
Ya nos platicó de los dos oficiales. ¿Qué más nos puede platicar del sospechoso que no se sabe? ¿Por qué lo venían persiguiendo o por qué lo estaban...?
Ok, el sospechoso hoy tenía un orden de arresto del condado de Brazoria por asalto agravado con un arma. Y entonces durante sus trabajos los diputados lo encontraron aquí en Houston y así pasó, es lo que pasó. Hoy se encontraba, lo buscaban tenía orden de arresto del condado de Brazoria por asalto agravado.
¿Vivía en Brazoria?
No sé dónde vivía.
Chief, just translating what you just said, and I think it's so important, Chief. Talk about the importance of these canines. It's not just an animal. It's part of your family. I mean, we saw the support whenever they were airlifting him. Just talk us about how important they are.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ms. Reese. I want to thank the pilots from the DPS helicopter. One, I'll let that ambulance go by, fire truck. One, to fly in the weather, to land a DPS helicopter. I want to thank Colonel Martin for allowing that to happen, the governor's office as well, for letting that chopper land here and having the guts to put that animal, our teammate, and sending that animal. They're part of our existence as a police department, as law enforcement in general. Whether be it bombs, be it drugs, you name it, saving lives. Those dogs are amazing. They're part of us. They're an absolute benefit to the community, and we get a lot of support from the community. Some of these dogs are purchased by the community members. The Houston Police Foundation, for example, takes those kinds of things. I also want, before I forget, I want to thank the 100 Club of Houston for their immediate assistance to Miss Vargas at the hospital. Again, it's a sad day for us as law enforcement here at the city of Houston. I know the marshals here. Thank you for coming up from Victoria. It's important. I want to obviously comment. The mayor said earlier, Mayor Whitmire said this is a collaborative effort, right? Something bad happens in this community. It doesn't matter what patch we wear, what uniform we wear, what hats we wear. We're going to take care of business because our priority is public safety, and this community deserves the very best. And for us here, standing up here, to include the district attorney, we're going to provide exceptional services at the very best that we can. And I want to thank the community for allowing us to do these hard jobs and partnering with us to make sure that they're safe, their families are safe, and the bad guys are the bad guys. They like the mayor, like the marshal said, they're here, they exist, and we're going to do everything with dignity, with respect, professionalism. But when you come in and you try to injure one of us, injure an animal, we're trained to make sure that we take care of business.
Chief, thank you.
Thank you very much.
One other thing, Chief, if you don't mind.
No, sir.
You need to do a documentary or even just question about the relationship of the canine law enforcement community. The dogs picked the trainer. They picked the officer. We picked the officer. But when it comes down to it, we send them off to these training centers. And they walk them through there, and it's pretty much what the dog decides who they want to be a part of. Thereafter, it's a lifetime. When the dog retires, they stay with the trainer. There is some exception, but predominantly the dog is a family member from the day one.
So how's the trainer doing?
He's having a tough.
Thank you, Marshal.
But he's a tough guy, so he understands the role he plays with his partner, and so he'll be fine. He'll do all right.
DA Tier, any comment?
Just briefly to say that we lost a hero today. We almost lost two. Thank God that the canine is going to be okay. But what you all saw, the outcome today, is something that sadly I've gotten to live firsthand on two separate occasions. Watching Gulf Coast help HPD find Oscar Rosales, who killed Corporal Galloway. I was on the front lines with that, and knowing what my office was doing in the background to help with warrants and all the other things as you're actively trying to find someone who takes a hero away from us. The collaboration amongst these organizations that, as the chief said, always have one thing in mind: to make our streets safer for everyone. But to watch it, I don't think there's another place in the country that has the relationships across the board. Whatever patch you wear, whatever hat you wear, we are all pulling in the same direction, and we're all friends. And because of that, you see things like this come to a conclusion much quicker and better for really everyone. We're not going to stop people like that. You're not going to take them off of the streets without some bloodshed. That is just, there are people like that in the world. But being able to minimize it and keeping them locked up when we get them is something that we are going to do as a unit for as long as I'm here. So, thank you.
I would say the brothership, fellowship of all. The chief's probably got this, so did I. We received texts and calls from law enforcement across the nation when the news break out. Did you not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank the media for being a good partner.
Yes.
Thank you for coming out here and suffering in the rain with us. We got a little shade now, but thank you for coming out. It's important that we message that we're here to serve and we're here to do good. And I also want to thank the families of the officers that are out here with wet shoes, wet shirts, for the families allowing their family member to do this job. They often go unmentioned, but we can't do it with our partners without our wives, our husbands behind the scene that are at home worried when they see the media coverage. But for me, it's a pleasure to serve this community, and I want to always make sure that I thank the men in blue, or men and women in blue that are doing this job all the time for the right reasons. So thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Good night. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, for about almost 30 minutes now, the U.S. Marshal's Office and HPD have been giving us a detailed update of the events leading up to the takedown of an accused deputy killer. Suspect Robert Lee Davis was found among the garbage in a dumpster that a canine led them to, apparently buried under trash.
Yeah, really dramatic stuff here. Davis fired on the canine that discovered him inside the dumpster. Law enforcement then returned fire, shooting and killing the suspect. This was 5 hours plus after the search began. The canine, we are told, is named Rocky, a 1.5-year-old Belgian Malinois. Now, I have family members that train these dogs. They are extremely bright, which is why they are used as police dogs. Rocky, the canine, airlifted to an animal hospital in the nearby Westbury area. Rocky is being treated tonight, we're told, is in stable condition.
It has been an extremely dangerous and deadly day. The U.S. Marshal's Office remarking how the suspect had no intention of being taken alive, starting with shooting Deputy Vargas. Chief Noe Diaz gave Deputy Vargas's wife his word they would find the suspect who allegedly killed her husband today, and that's exactly what they did.
We're thinking, of course, of his wife and his 3 children tonight. We'll have more on the career and life of Deputy Vargas as we continue to follow this investigation this evening. Join us at 10 o'clock for the very latest. Until then, get updates on KHOU.com and the KHOU 11 Plus app. Thanks for joining us.